Recording
We
this.
shall see at the end.
Yeah. So the secret behind this kind of work, going in the Akashic records or connecting with your past lives, connecting with your higher self, is to get your vibration up really high. Like this. I love this book. Here you go. There you go. Wonderful book. Which during lunch, if anyone wants to look at it. The best way to raise your vibration is one, give yourself a period of time where you say, my head is not going to even be here. I'm going to get out of my head, out of my ego, out of my thoughts. Also, relax your feet. Because when Mom, no, she's on her walk. Okay. This is something I tell her all the time. When you open up your crown really wide, and this kind of conversation and work opens it up really wide, you want to make sure your root chakra is open as or wider or wider. Otherwise, you have all this divine energy flowing into you, and then it gets bottlenecked or cut off, and you start getting like a buildup of energy in your head. You get that sort of vertigo feeling, or you're dizzy, or you're like floating around like a helium balloon, not connected to Earth. We all have friends like that.
We need our root chakra to be open.
You need your root chakra to be wide open. The easiest way to open your root chakra, once you're used to working with it, and everyone here is just relax your feet. And no matter when you relax your feet, your root chakra automatically opens. Especially with all that energy coming through, your root chakra will be like, oh yeah. So the more you relax your feet and the more your root chakra opens, the wider your crown chakra can open. So whenever your crown chakra opens wider, say, great, my crown chakra is expanding, and now I relax my feet and let my root chakra expand. You don't even need to actively do it. It will do it on its own. It's kind of like a mindfulness meditation sort of thing where you observe and acknowledge, but you allow the action to take place on its own without you micromanaging it. And this is also important because when you get your vibration higher, you don't want to be then manipulating and taking action. You want to be just riding along for the experience. So allowing your chakras to expand just with your acknowledgement of them also allows your vibration to get higher, and it allows you to release control of the experience. And then he's just like, fall back into it. The higher you can get your vibrational state of being, the deeper you can go with this. Pretty much every standard meditation to go into the Akashic library is about going on a journey up. Either the most common one is like you start out in a garden and you go on a path, and it's a beautiful windy path with all these details of nature and garden, and feeling the clouds and the sun and the breeze, like really getting the details of nature, which allows the person to sort of start receiving detailed information. Oh, look, a butterfly fluttering around, etc. And then the path goes into the woods, and then past a windy creek, and you might drink some of the cool water, and then splash some on your face, go swimming, a sacred pool or whatever. The path goes winding through the woods. That's very deep and healing. So the person is relaxing as they're receiving the healing energy of deep, dark, moss-covered woodland area where every step sinks down just a little bit into a moist, receptive, springy ground. And then the path goes on until you come to a beautiful, it comes out of the woods, and you have this vista of you're on a cliff, and you see a beautiful vista around you, and you describe the vista, which gets people expanding their vision and seeing beyond what's here. And then you go down the cliff on a trail, steps, and you're on a path that takes you to a body of water. And at the body of water, you might describe however it is, or by then I usually let people imagine their own body of water because they're coming in. and there's a bench, and someone in life who loved you, who's no longer in life, is there to talk with you. So you get them connected with spirit, so like for me, usually it's my grandfather. My mother's father's waiting to talk with me, and we sit and we talk, and I mentioned, yes, Lord Snaggletooth is in the house. And I mentioned, how proud this person is of you, how much they love you. So you're getting all this beautiful, loving, supportive energy. And then that person will give you a gift. The gift is up to the person on what they receive. It might be a crystal or a feather. It might be the gift of love. It might be a memory. It might be a kiss. It can be anything. It might be a box that they open and a color comes out of the box. Like, it can be anything. And then that person shows you where a stairway is, and you see a stairway that's going up as far as you can reach. Then you do steps, like 10 steps at a time, and every 10 steps there's a platform, and each platform is a different vibrational level. So you go up the first 10 steps, and usually I think I do like 50 steps. So the first 10 steps, someone from your soul family is there to greet you. You go up the second 10 step, an angel is there to greet you. You go up your third set of 10 steps, and someone of a high vibration, archangel, ascended master, is there to greet you. You go up the next level, your higher self is there to greet you. You go up your next level, and you're at the Akashic library. Some people may see it in the clouds, some people, and as you're going up, every 10 steps before you go to greet someone who's sitting on a bench waiting for you on a platform, you look down and see what you see. So the first 10 steps, you realize you're just below the clouds. So each step is like basically, 20 miles or whatever. The next 10 steps, you see Earth below, and so you're looking from the moon. You're like going up. You get to the doorway of the library, and I generally describe it as like ancient, like an ancient fortress, an ancient library. But when you open the door, it opens with ease, and you go into the library. The library will look different for each person, but usually it's like an ancient library. But there's one book that's calling to you, so you go and you get. That's our cat. He's an albino Maine Coon cat. But there's only one book you're looking for, and one book that calls to you. Depending on the scenario, you may reach and take the book out yourself, or your librarian may be there and direct you to sit down at this ancient table, and or desk, and they will bring the book to you. You look at the outside of the book and the size, because every time you go into a past life, your book will look different. It can look like an ancient tome. It can look like a Frodo's pocket guide. It can look like a scroll. It can, sometimes it'll look like an iPad. It can look different because the way it looks is what to expect when you are in that life. So I'd say, look at the book. What is the cover made of? What is on the cover? What do you see when you look at the cover? Feel the pages. Are they like clean cut, or is it like ancient? What is it made of? Is it made of like paper, modern or ancient? Is it made of papyrus, leather, tree bark, chiseled stone? And then finally you open the book and start reading. What usually happens is people find themselves either diving in or being sucked into the book. Some people, when you do a past life regression, you are in there experiencing it as you did before. Other people, it's like you're above watching it happen, or you might be going in and out. What usually happens for me is I'm like 3 places at once. I am experiencing it firsthand. I am me watching me experience while the soul of the me in that life is talking with me. Like, when you watch a DVD and they have the one where the director and the actors are talking, throughout. It's sort of like that. Like, we're narrating together and I'm asking questions while we're watching the me of that life experience that life. But I'm also the me who's narrating to me while we're watching me. So I'm like all three at once, but it's very coherent. It's not as confusing as it sounds. And it's a full, it's interesting. Um, but some people, when they're reading their past life, they actually read it in a book or a newspaper. Some people, you don't see anything. It's more like you hear things or you sense things or you just have like an instant download of knowing. So when I talk about seeing, seeing just means like receiving information. It's not like seeing with your eyes, it's seeing with your being. Okay. But seeing is the common lingo for this. However, it doesn't mean you're looking at things. I'll tell you, a few years ago, I went from a lifetime of being completely lucid, like I could close my eyes and see whatever and wherever I wanted. I could look at people and see the energy around them and the energy flowing in them, and I could see what past lives were around them. Like I could see into multiple dimensions at once and the energy. A couple of years ago, that stopped. All I see is the 3D world around me. All I hear are the sounds. And when I close my eyes, it's pitch black. But my ability to see these experiences is much more powerful. Even though all I see is pitch black, I get so much more detail. And I still use the word see, even though I'm not seeing anything. So don't think about, oh, I can't this or I can't that, I can't see. Just dive in and be open to whatever comes to you. At first, it'll be a little bit faint, like because it's trying to get to you and you have to relax and open up so you can receive, which is why normally we do these long meditations. Like I'll do an hour-long meditation to get people into the Akashic book, and then they'll be there for 10 minutes because that's how long most people can stand being there before it's too much and they're tired. Even if I do, like, we come out of the book and then we go back in. Each time we go through the whole, now look at your book. What does it look like this time? They'll go, wow, last time it was iPad. This time it's like a stone tablet, or it's, or this time it's a person staring at me. I'm like, okay, this person is your book and this person is going to share with you a life. So be ready for it to be completely different. Each life, how you experience it, can be completely different. For today's meditation, for this one, because all of you are vibing very high and you're used to meditating, what I want to do is something that normally I reserve for later. We're going to, because this is something you can do on your own very easily, even if you're in the checkout line at Trader Joe's on a Sunday, where we're just going to open ourselves up to be divine conduits. And then we're going to let you rise up through your energy and rise on up to a higher plane, which is like the land between physical and spiritual reality. It's called the Bardo, or the Twilight Realm. And this is a place where soul contracts can be revised. This is a place where if you go to it, anyone you call to you is contractually obligated to be there. Even people who are in life right now, their higher self will show up, or the aspects of that higher self soul that's connected with the current life will show up. This is a place where you can do cord cutting ceremonies, you can do soul negotiations. It's the easiest place to connect with your higher self and your soul family, your guardian angels, with anyone and everyone. So I want to get us there. And then from there, we'll call forward your higher self. So we don't need to go into the library. Your higher self knows all about your entire existence. So it's a little bit like going to visit your grandparents and saying, tell me about life when you were a kid. So you can go visit your higher self and say, tell me about life before I was me. And your higher self will share with you, and how the two of you connect in the Twilight Realm can be either you're sitting on a bench, good friends chatting, or it can be like an older sister, younger sister, or an older brother or younger sister. You know, because some of us, our higher self is a little more divine feminine, a little more divine masculine, or a little more, you know, perfectly balanced. Your higher self may decide to come forward in a different image, like not in human form. So be prepared for whatever you receive. One time my higher self came forward as like a dragon. And we had the best time. We went flying through the
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So be open for whatever comes forward and delightfully surprised. But this exercise will really set everyone up to be able to do this easily without having to do the long. And if you want the long meditation, I've got that on my website and on YouTube. So, okay. Any questions? All right. Also, the nice thing about having your higher self tell you about lives is if you feel like your vibration is not getting enough to be in it, it's a lower vibration to have someone tell you about it. And the act of hearing about it can raise your vibration to then get into it or not. Or you may say, you know what, I can get enough vibe to hear about it for an extended period of time. I don't need to strain myself to try to like get up higher and higher.